to give you motherfuckers some sense of power. Then y'all let that shit go to y'all head. So the divine feminine is the thing that the divine masculine want to see the most in the community or cultural system that brings the most divine feminines is the matriarchy, because the man gonna be a man and the woman gonna be a woman, and there is not gonna be any confusion in the two. It won't be no motherfucking confusion in the two. The man gonna know when he need to beat the fuck up somebody, and the woman gonna know when she need to inform her man that this other motherfucker won't get right. Under the current system, we don't know if we need to tell our brother or our sister. Because the sister be more man than half these niggas, and then the man be more bitch than half the women. I'm like, what the fuck? So we don't even know who, the women don't know who to tell. She don't know whether to call her homegirl or call her uncle for the problem. Somebody want to fight, who I call? Do I call my homegirl? Do I call my uncle? How many of them niggas is it? Right? That's a confusion system. All you gotta do is avoid the confusion. Put the power where it belongs. Don't feel no way about it. Give everybody their shit that they rightfully got coming. And then everybody can deal with everybody on the level. And if you're not willing to do that, then you don't need to be here. Everybody need their own shit so that everybody can be self-reliant, so that we can raise the next generation to be more self-reliant than we are. It's all about what we gonna do for the babies. We shot our motherfucking wad. We had our day in the sun, our chance to be great. What we gonna do for these babies to get out their motherfucking way? Right? Now, I understand if you're an athlete, you want to fight and hold on to your youth as long as possible. In them situations, you're supposed to hold your crown long as you can, but one of these young motherfuckers still gonna come along and knock you off your throne sooner or motherfucking later. Right? The smartest thing is to embody your God self. You don't need no throne now. Because when you embody your God self, you just want to see everybody be their best self. You don't want nothing else. If everybody can be their best self, then let me facilitate that shit. Right? The Queensland, Australia. The Queensland is the Ashanti stool. Flip your map upside down. Pull out the Ashanti stool picture and do a side-by-side analysis of the Queensland and the Ashanti stool. This is the stool of matriarchal leadership. There are several other tribes that also have a similar stool. But the Ashanti stool is because of Irv Gotti's Murder Inc. and Ashanti as the ride or die chick in the war. Because of that, we use the Ashanti stool. We also give reverence to Queen NZINGA, who fought off the British, the Dutch, and the Portuguese when her brother was being a bitch-ass nigga. And because he didn't know how to command these troops, her and her sisters went and put them niggas in check. It's just what it is. Some of these women are better generals, right? And if they better generals, you need to put them in the war room and let them give you the strategy of a superior general, and stop trying to worry about what's under her skirt and worry about what's between her ears. How do she think strategically? Because some of this stuff is like pattern recognition for a lot of women, being that they are the oldest souls that walk the planet, the divine feminine. They can recognize patterns in the game that we overlook. And so to learn the story of these Queen Ashantiwa, the Candace Queens, we realize pattern recognition becomes critical to understanding how to fight on any given terrain. We fighting a spiritual war. You need some spiritual warriors to know the spiritual terrain. And water is the physical symbol for spirit. So you need those women that's water warriors to come and fight along with you. But you also need them women that's fireflies to light the way. You mean, it is what it is. We can play these games and drag this shit out, but it's still going, it don't matter how long y'all gonna drag it out. It don't matter how much y'all try to suppress them. These sisters gonna wake up, because I'm gonna keep telling them bits and pieces to the puzzle until they all stand up and say, enough is enough, we want our shit back, and then y'all fuck. Because now they got their shit back, because all they gotta do is step up and reclaim it, because I already did all of the leg work, right? And so flip it over, look at Australia, and the queen sits with her back to the east from where we at now, facing the west, and the Americas is under her, and this is the Queen's land. This is why they keep telling us it's the land down under when it's on the top of the fucking planet. They trying to trick us, and that's why they told us hell was hot, but the Africans say hell is freezing cold. Hell is Hellenistic. That means it's Greek. That means it comes from Europe. That means it's snow there. That means that the Africans was right, and that the people that told us that the land down under was Australia was wrong. It's the proper orientation of the planet in order to see your way through the infinity loop and to flip the divine feminine, the great mother, back on her throne, right? So she's sitting up there and she's looking down at the kids playing in the playground. The playground is the cradle of everything. That's the Americas. It is what it is. Y'all don't have to like me. Y'all don't have to agree with me. But you can't fight these receipts. When you go and do what I told you and you look at these receipts, you know, oh, yeah. Like today, I'm not showing receipts. I'm just giving y'all the reference, and y'all can look it up if y'all want to. If y'all don't have to, right? But it's certain stuff that has to be known to the people in order to facilitate the liberation of the mind. Because first, if your mind don't break free, your ass gonna be still in bondage, right? If you look at the picture of George Washington, he's in this picture. He's standing up, and it's an arch. He's standing in an archway doorway. You'll notice that his feet is pointing to the keystone. The keystone is the foundation stone on the bottom, and above him is a capstone, right? And the capstone is the Royal Arc degree. The keystone had to rise up from the bottom off the right hand of the mother into the keystone. When this is why they said Hiram was taken on a northwesterly course and buried in a shallow grave. That was the message to the widow on how to find her son, because from Carolinas to Michigan is the northwesterly course, right? And the shallow grave is the 313. 313 equals a 7, right? And also it represents 3 13s, which is 3 queen mothers, which is a 3 sister seal, right? And that shallow grave just so happens to be in Michigan's right hand of Mother Earth. So to come forth and proceed from the right hand on a northwesterly course, that is the hand of the righteous, which is the hand of the sisters, which is the earth's out of the 5% link to the land. The gods only work for the earths. They don't work for the imposters. So the gods come to liberate the earths, and the earths is the sisters, and the sisters is the ones that's mitochondrial tied to the earth, that host the divine masculine to come as their defenders by saying, yep, you can leave him, mama. I can host him from here. I can vouch that he's going to be a stand-up motherfucker if you leave. So now your mama ain't got to be here when you become a man to keep you in check. She gave you something called a wife. And if you don't know what's going on, then you better figure it out and figure it out fast. So the same way that they tell the widow that her son is at a northwesterly course in a shallow grave, that's in the reverse. telling her son, Hiram, that the shrine is in a southeasterly course, right? Out in the open, unprotected. Right? So now he know what he looking for, and she know what she looking for, and when the two meet, the game is over. So now we waiting for those spokespersons to speak up, but the clans ain't calling they chiefs. The clans, wherever you at, if you got a big papa or a big mama, go honor them. Bring the energy back. Honor them. Call them up on the telephone if you in the far distance from them, and just let them know you honor them. Change the paradigm by altering the energy by your actions and your deeds. And it don't require you to go start a war with nuclear bombs. That's idiot shit. All they get is express honors and gratitude where the honors and gratitude is due. And that changes the paradigm by itself. Right. So the last thing I want to talk about is the Spanish invasion, because they keep telling us the Seminole Wars. That's when they tell us from the Spanish perspective. In the Seminole Wars, the Spanish perspective is that the Seminoles was a mixture of tribes with runaway slaves. Nothing could be further from the truth. The chiefs, the Afro chiefs, and the other chiefs were in alliances across clans. On the West Coast, Pacific Rim, we traded with Asians and intermarried with their royal families, and they gave us the name as a key. And the name that they gave us as a key was the name Lee. So this is from the Asian connection of the tribes telling us that they know who the originals are. And this is why we got Uncle Henry Lee, Auntie Verdi Lee, Bobby Lee, Jimmy Lee, right? All of these Lees as the middle name is the key name. And it's to carry on the cultural reading of the clans and knowing who's who and why they here, where they came from. Everybody that is over here that look Asian didn't come with the Bering Strait migration. Some of them came on boats from the Pacific, and wives were traded with emperors of China and Japan with the chiefs of this land on the west. And we created a whole unique culture from those mixings, because we always try to find the balance in the two when we meet. On the east coast of America, this is why they say the Gullah Geechee is Africans. They not Africans. They was already here. But because the east coast from South Carolina going all the way down into Brazil, in trade and commerce, they also intermarried with the royal families of Africa, the royal families of India, who traded with them across the Atlantic Ocean. And so when they run the narrative, we're not supposed to know what we call pre-Columbus history of the land just by reading the structures in the land and the movement of the people. We're not supposed to be able to know none of that. But now when you look at it, you will understand what I'm talking about, and the evidence and history bears witness to everything that I'm telling y'all. So when we begin to be called by Big Mama to fight the Gullah Wars, what we call them the Florida Wars or the Gullah Wars, they call them the Seminole Wars. When Big Mama called us, she called us around the time of Columbus because she knew how they was coming and we needed to fight. It wasn't going to be optional, or else we was going to get wiped out. And it was because of the long drawn out nature of the war that caused the war to evolve and take on different forms, everything from treaty negotiations to secret societies using native conjurers behind the scenes to suppress the native peoples. We ain't never supposed to know this shit. We ain't never supposed to figure it out. But they said Noble Drew Ali infiltrated the lodges to get the secrets out in the public domain, right? So when you go back, there's a boat race they do every year in Florida, I think since '75. It's a commemorative boat race that's reenacting the Spanish invasion of Florida. But most of us don't know it for that because they got it under the name of some yacht club, and as if it's just a social event for rich people to drive their yachts up the river, which is not the case. It's the reenactment of the Spanish invasion. When Ponce de Leon in 1513 was the first one to reach Florida and start the fight with in the Keys with the natives, right? On his heels, De Soto came between 1539 and 1542, and we fought him and whooped his ass and his people, right? This is what gave us Gator Baby, right? Then you had Menendez de Avilés in 1565. They set up the first city in Florida, which was the first settlement, right? And we used to ride crocodiles like skateboards through the Everglades. You used to be able to go on crocodiles from Florida to Louisiana without ever leaving swamp. Most of the swamps have since been altered by terraforming, invading forces, using engineers to fill in wetlands with sand that they took from other parts of the land and to chop down trees all across the land. The trees was such a pariah and hindrance to the invading forces that they were setting whole forests on fire. You can drive 75 south through Florida and still see the charred remains of trees jetting out the waters that they had burned down years ago. They still there, right? The crocodiles were sacred to Sobek, the priest. But the crocodile was also sacred to Big Mama. When you look at Ta'ert or Tawaret, you'll see that she has the spine of a crocodile. And she looked like a hippopotamus, but she got the memories of a woman. These is the sacred animals that's sacred to Big Mama. The crocodile gave us a gold liquid, was a cerebral spinal fluid that the Big Mama was used to use to anoint the children when they was born and give them their names in the naming ceremony. This is what the whole anointing and rubbing the head with oil, all that was part of anointing you and tying you to your spiritual ancestor that's going to help guide you through this lifetime. And from there, you're going to learn what your life purpose was, and that's how you find out, right? So the gators wouldn't eat us. So what they started doing is they would start slashing babies till they was bleeding, throwing the babies into the crocodile's mouth with his mouth open, and to get them to start eating the babies, right? Because the adults was unsavory to the gators. So they started with the kidnapped babies they were stealing to chum the waters and to agitate the alligators to bite humans. That's not normal in the Sobek priests. You still got tribes. All you got to do is look up crocodile or alligator tribes, and they'll show you people where alligators don't even meet them. Crocodiles don't even meet them. Different parts of the world, different people. It might be one person and one crocodile or one alligator, but that's the remnant of the past being played out in the present. Everything that we've ever experienced, there's some kind of strata showing us what it is. Nothing new under the sun. No. So, I think that's all I got for tonight, y'all. So, I hope this was informative enough for y'all to understand that the men of God attract very powerful enemies. And the more active you is in doing God's work, the more powerful the enemy that you will be faced with that's coming to interfere with your progress. Whew. A lot of us are weary from the struggles that we've been through.